Your cat just pushed your water glass off the counter for the fourth time today while looking directly at you. Most people assume one of two things. Either the cat is doing it for attention, or the cat is just somehow an asshole. Both of these explanations are wrong, and the real reason is considerably more interesting. Because when you understand why cats knock things off surfaces, you stop seeing an irritating domestic quirk and start seeing the behavior of a highly calibrated predator running a reflex that evolution built into it over 10 million years. A reflex it literally cannot turn off, even in an apartment with no prey in sight. To understand why cats knock things over, you need to understand what a cat actually is. Domestic cats, Felis catus, have been living alongside humans for roughly 10,000 years. That sounds like a long time, but in evolutionary terms, it is almost nothing. For the 40 million years before that, the ancestors of your cat were solitary ambush predators, small, precise, extraordinarily calibrated hunters whose survival depended entirely on one skill: identifying whether a small moving object was prey or wasn't. That predatory brain is still operating inside every domestic cat. The hunting circuits are fully intact. The sensory systems are tuned to the same stimuli they were tuned to 10 million years ago. Your cat does not experience your apartment the way you do. It experiences it as a territory full of objects that may or may not be prey, and it has to figure which is which. Domestic cats retain the full neurological architecture of their wild ancestors. The predatory behavioral sequence, orient, stalk, pounce, bite, kill, is present and functional in virtually all domestic cats, regardless of whether they have ever hunted. Here is what knocking things over actually is. Cats are obligate hunters. Even well-fed domestic cats have an active prey detection system that is constantly scanning their environment for objects that might be small animals. Size, movement, weight, responsiveness. These are the 4 variables a cat uses to classify an object as potential prey. And the most efficient way to test all 4 simultaneously is to touch the object and see what it does. A cat patting an object is not playing. It is running a prey assessment test. If the object moves unexpectedly, it might be alive. If it makes a noise, it might be alive. If it falls, the cat can track whether it keeps moving. The knock is the test. The fall is the result. The cat watching the object fall is reading the data. What is commonly described as play in domestic cats closely mirrors the predatory behavioral sequence seen in wild felids. Patting, batting, and knocking behaviors are functionally indistinguishable from prey assessment and prey debilitation behaviors observed in hunting contexts. But here is the question that makes this more interesting. If this is prey testing behavior, why specifically do cats push things off surfaces? Why not just pat them and walk away? That answer requires one more layer. In the wild, a cat's prey doesn't sit still. A mouse, a bird, a lizard, when disadvantaged, they run. They move in unpredictable directions. They try to escape. A hunting cat's entire sensory system is calibrated for tracking moving objects against a background. Movement is the primary signal. A stationary object is much harder for a cat to process than a moving one. When a cat pushes an object off a surface, it is not just testing whether the object is alive. It is creating the specific type of movement that its visual and auditory systems are best designed to track. A falling object, an object that bounces, an object that rolls unpredictably across a floor. These are the exact movement signatures of a small, panicked animal trying to escape. The cat is not knocking things over to be annoying. The cat is generating the sensory conditions under which its prey tracking system works best. Cats demonstrate strong object permanence. They can track and anticipate the trajectory of a falling object. When cats bat objects off surfaces, they consistently track the object's descent and subsequent movement, suggesting active sensory engagement rather than random displacement.
There is a second mechanism operating simultaneously. Cats are what behavioral ecologists call obligate neophiliacs for moving stimuli, which means they are hardwired to investigate and interact with novel moving objects. Every object in your home has been sitting in the same place for days, weeks, months. Your cat has already classified it. It is not prey. But the moment that object moves, falls off the counter, rolls across the floor, it is reclassified. A moving object is a potentially live object. A live object requires immediate reevaluation. The cat is not reacting to the object falling. The cat caused the fall, specifically to trigger the reevaluation.
So, back to the water glass. Your cat is not bored. It is not seeking attention. It is not being spiteful. It is running a prey assessment on an object that has been classified as non-prey by its stationary state and needs to be reevaluated now that it has entered the category of potentially interesting moving thing. The cat is doing exactly what 40 million years of evolution built it to do, in an environment with no actual prey, with no way to switch that system off, because evolution had not prepared it for a world full of inanimate objects that looked just slightly like the things it used to hunt.
This also tells us something important about how we should think about cat intelligence. We tend to interpret animal behavior through a human emotional frame. Annoying behavior equals bad intentions. Repeated behavior equals stubbornness. But this behavior has no emotional content at all. It is a sensory classification routine. It is the cat's brain doing its job in an environment its brain was never designed for.
The question was never, why is my cat annoying? The question was always, what kind of mind produces this behavior? And the answer is, a predatory mind, running perfectly in the wrong world. The next time your cat pushes something off the counter, you will probably still be annoyed. That's fair. But somewhere underneath the annoyance, you might also notice something else. The precision of the paw, the angle of the test, the way it watches the object fall with the focused attention of something that has been perfecting this exact movement for 40 million years. It is not stupid. It is not spiteful. It is one of the most efficient small predators that evolution has ever produced, doing exactly what it was built to do, in your kitchen, with your water glass.